right. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
Yo, yo, yo.
Thank you guys again for checking us out. This is Dollars and Cents with David and Carlo.
What's cracking?
I'm David.
I'm Carlo.
We appreciate you guys stopping by and hanging out with us. Again, I want to dive right into continuing from last episode. And we're talking about what an IUL is. We went over the I, which means indexed, and maybe just a quick recap.
Yeah, indexing means that this policy cash value account is tied or mirrors a stock market index like the S&P 500.
There you go. Universal.
Flexibility. I can increase contributions. I can decrease contributions. I can pause it. There's a lot of flexibility. Versus something that's there's limitations, right? It's very flexible.
Mm-hmm. And then the L. The L stands for life.
It's life insurance. It's a life insurance policy at the end of the day.
Now, depending on how you structure your IUL, and there are various ways to do this, depending on your particular situation and what your goals are going to be, you can structure this IUL to be a type of savings account for yourself, or really you can use it the more traditional route as life insurance. But we're going to dive into how you can get this done and why you want to use it for the former versus the latter, right?
Right, yes.
And so, let's go ahead and break that down. And you touched on this in the last episode and on how you can go about funding your IUL. Whereas if your IUL is set up to be more on the life insurance side of things, the majority of how you're funding it will go to pay towards your life insurance, correct?
Yes. So let's give an example of that. Somebody's got $500 a month, for example. And they, Carlo, I really need $1 million of coverage. Could I get $1 million IUL policy for $500? Let's say they're 40 years old, and that's going to be pricey, right? To get $1 million on a permanent policy. Even if you were to find something for $500, it would all get chewed up. Most of that is going to go towards the cost of the policy. You're not going to build any cash value, very little, if any. So how could I get $1 million but still build cash value like you're talking about with this minimum death benefit policy? You blend it with the term policy. So let's say for $500, let's say, look, a minimum death benefit, let's say it's $150,000. Okay, and so that way, we're going to be putting a majority of that $500 towards that $150,000 death benefit. So we're building some cash value, but you still have a $850,000 deficit in terms of what you need if something were to happen to you. We'll go get an $850,000 term policy. Okay, we can get a 10 or 20 or 30 year, typically 20 years, that sweet spot. And you can get that if you're in good health. Right,
fairly inexpensive.
$50 to $100,
right?
And now you're building cash value, and you have your insurance needs met of $1 million of death benefit.
We'll go over this a couple times, you guys, but I did want to really touch and a quick reminder on what the difference is between a term and a permanent. So a term is a short-term policy, short-term relative, 10, 20, 30-year term, meaning that at the end, let's say you get a 10-year term. At the end of the 10-year term, that's it. Let's say it's $1 million policy, but if you don't die in 10 years, nobody gets that money.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Right. Since we talk a lot about real estate and mortgages, right? And we're tying these industries together. You could look at term like renting a house, right? You're paying that monthly premium, right? But if the house goes up in equity, if you're renting, you don't get to participate in that. A term policy is the same way. You're just paying for the life insurance. You're renting your policy. At the end of the term, it's going to expire. And if you don't die, which is 90% of people do not die during the term, you don't get none of that money back.
Right.
A permanent policy is like owning a house. You're going to pay more, just like you pay taxes and insurance when you own, but you're going to build equity in that policy. And guess what you can do with equity? You can tap into it just like you can in a permanent policy.
So going back to the way that, the ideal structuring, again, depending on the situation, is where you would go to fund your IUL to grow your cash value. And the reason, again, why you want to do this is because you're able to use that account at will.
Yes.
And then depending on what your family situation is, if you want to protect them and create a death benefit for them that is really going to give them what they're looking for, you can couple that together with a term policy, and that really kind of covers the gamut.
The basis, right? So now you have your insurance needs and you're building cash value.
Right. There you go. So who is an IUL for? What, we went over who is it for? Why is it for? When would you want to use it? I just want to go get very basic with this stuff because it's important for y'all to know that this is readily available for you,
Absolutely, right? So number one is for people who have an insurable need, right? So typically that homeowner married with children, right? Mom or dad, hey, I need to make sure that my family's okay if something were to happen to me. So primarily it's insurance. Number two, if you're a saver, most people are trying to save money, which is getting more difficult, right? I put money in my savings after every paycheck just for a rainy day. Well, an IUL policy can be an alternative type of savings account if structured properly because you have access to that money. Okay. Business owners are a great example who IUL is for. There's many business owners who have payroll, who have rainy day money. Hey, if things go south in business, I need this cash. And when I talk to business owners, how long has that money been sitting there? We've had this kind of money sitting there for months, if not years. And I'm like, what's the bank giving you for that? Nothing.
Peanuts.
But I cannot afford to lock it up, Carlo.
Right.
I can't put it in a CD because if things go to hell in a handbasket, I need access to that capital quickly. So in an IUL, you have liquidity, you have access to that money, but you're going to get a much better rate of return than what the bank is going to give you.
If I could add to that, and y'all watching this, you might not be as age challenged as myself and Carla are. For you younger folk out there thinking, this is just for older people, older families, whatever, established families. You guys that might be younger than us that are doing well in life. Let's say you write code or you're in Silicon Valley or whatever. If you got to ask yourselves, God forbid, if you're in an accident and both of your hands got chopped off, would you be able to create income for yourself? Right? Yeah. What's the answer to that? No, you wouldn't be able. So, this is for everybody, regardless of age, right?
100%. You and I started working together to offer people mortgage protection, right? Which is basically a term policy with living benefits. Now, this is where we can talk about how a simple $25 to $30 term policy with living benefits can be for that single person who is a young professional who, if something were to happen to them, how are they going to be able to support themselves? Right. Because again, most people look at life insurance like, well, I'm single. Why do I need a life insurance policy? If I die, I'm dead. Right. How is that going to benefit me? What if you don't die?
Right.
Well, what do you mean by that, Carlo?
What are you going to do?
What if you got sick, heart attack, stroke, cancer, you got in a bad car accident on the 5 freeway, and you know what? You didn't die, but man, you're going through some health issues, a health crisis that you're not going back to work anytime soon. And if
at all.
Yeah, if at all, or you're self-employed or your job's, hey, if you can't work, your job offers you disability, which is 50 cents on the dollar.
Peanuts.
How are you going to be able to support yourself especially if you have a family? Now you have a life insurance policy that has living benefits that will pay you out of the death benefit. We're not talking about cash value anymore. If you have a $500,000 death benefit term policy that you're paying $40 a month and you were to get in a bad car accident, a heart attack, stroke, cancer, you can now tap into that life insurance while you're still living to help offset all your costs.
And just so I understand, this is separate from the IUL.
Yes.
So
right?
you're
We're not talking about the cash value.
Right. You're able to, reap the benefits of both.
Yeah.
Right. And we're talking about a nominal cost. Really,
yes. And a term policy, I've done these for $30 a month. Some youngster, right, 30, 40 years old, he's got, hey, I got 3, 4, 500,000. If something were to happen to you, you can access this money so that you can continue to have quality of life and not have to worry about not having any money. Now you have a term life insurance policy with living benefits, and IULs have it too.
So the who portion of that question, it's for everybody. And really, I implore you all out there, give us a call, hit us up, shoot us a DM, ask those questions. It doesn't hurt. Having a conversation with us won't cost you anything, but it will add value to you. If the timing right, that's cool. But if it is and it makes sense, why not take advantage of what's available to you now?
And I will say is the question I have for everybody, if you have a life insurance policy, when's the last time you reviewed that policy? And, just like I have this iPhone here, this is probably the iPhone 13. My dad, I was just talking to him yesterday. He's got the iPhone 8. I'm like, Dad, you got to update that, man. Your policy might be like the original iPhone. It needs to be updated, right? There's a newer version, and the updates now have living benefits. So ask yourself, does your life insurance policy offer living benefits?
You might be missing out.
And if it doesn't, you might be able to swap that out for the same cost that you're paying now and get something that offers you more benefits for you and your family.
Right. Having somebody else take a second look at it, especially having, explored that for a while, I think it would be very beneficial to you, right?
100%.
To you and your family. So, I guess the when we kind of talked on, but really you want to take advantage of this before a particular situation comes into play. And unfortunately for most of us, we're on the other side when we decide to do something like this. But again, this is why we're putting out this show, because we want to get this information out to y'all. We think it's incredibly important. And we want to make our approach to finance, all encompassing. So, life insurance, real estate, mortgage. At any moment, you can reach out to us, visit our office in downtown Chula Vista. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We want to be of service to you and to the community at large. That gives us a general idea on what an IUL is. I guess we can kind of dive over now to how it protects you and your family and your assets, and how you can use that as a shield. Should something go down?
Absolutely. I mean, that's why we've also got into living trust, right? What is a living trust, and how does life insurance help with that? Well, a living trust is something that protects your assets from probate. And people say, well, what is probate? Probate is ugly, right? But probate is basically the process of changing the name on title once the owner has died.
You guys out there, if you think of probate, just think ugly.
It's ugly, man, right? So we can do a whole segment just on that.
We will, but
basically it's you want to protect your assets, right? So if you are a homeowner, you've worked your tail off for you and your family to build something, and you want to pass on generational wealth. If you do not have a living trust in place, you could lose a lot of your money and your assets that you've worked so hard for to the state.
Consider the living trust as a shield protecting your house, your IUL, protecting your term and who those assets go to, right?
Absolutely.
And most people think, well, so I got a will. Isn't that the same thing?
No, a will just says who I want my stuff to go to, but it doesn't protect you from probate.
Right.
Only a living trust can protect your assets from probate, right? Because when you die, they have to change the name on title. If you didn't put a beneficiary, then it's going to probate. Mm-hmm. And now you have the state deciding who gets your assets and when they get your assets.
We definitely don't want that, and at a cost, and you will receive a very small percentage of your proceeds after probate.
Oh man, it can get really ugly. So a trust, $1,500 to $2,000, right? So that you can transfer all of your assets to your family without Uncle Sam getting in the way, okay? And so with life insurance, when people say, I now have a trust, how does it deal with my life insurance? Well, right now, say your primary beneficiary is your husband or your wife. Once you establish a trust, your primary beneficiary now becomes the trust.
The trust.
Just as like if you're a homeowner. If you're a homeowner right now, your name is on title. Once you establish a trust, your name no longer on title, your trust is on title. That's why it's called a living trust, because even though you're dead, it's as if you're still alive because you still own the property, even though you're dead, but now a trust owns the property.
It's a living entity per se, right? And that continues on.
Yep, which allows you to transfer your assets seamlessly to your family without Uncle Sam dipping his hands into your family's cookie jar.
Very cool. That was great information, jam-packed. I love where the direction of this show is going. I love the fact that you guys took the time out to hang out with us as well. Please continue to do so. I think we have some great information for you all moving forward. And again, thank you so much. This is on behalf of Carlo and myself. We'll see you guys soon. Peace.